In this video, we're going to cover various charts, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, and why I believe the bottom is near. So the first chart we're going to look at is Bitcoin dominance on the weekly. Now, Bitcoin dominance has been approaching this resistance level for some time now in an ascending wedge, which is a bearish pattern. You can see in the past, once Bitcoin has formally approached this as support, altcoins chopped, but whenever it broke through it and now retesting as resistance, you have Ethereum and alts rising exponentially more versus it. So in my opinion, I believe that Bitcoin is very, very close to reaching a peak, whereas altcoins and Ethereum will actually pump more versus the pair. So something to keep in mind there. Next, you have Ethereum Bitcoin. So the ETHBTC chart is very close as well to its major support level. And again, whenever ETHBTC reaches major support, you have a huge run in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So I believe if it doesn't reach this support level, if it even breaks this trend line here that's been going on for 2 years, then we will see a massive alt rally. So this is something I'm watching as well. But let's actually talk about why I believe the bottom is near. So one of the things here is the weekly USDT dominance. So you can see here we have this trend line, and USDT dominance basically tells you how many people are in stables. When it's increasing, more people are getting out of alts and BTC and investing into stables, and then vice versa when it's decreasing. So you can see here we're approaching resistance, which is bullish. So if dominance decreases, then again, that means people are getting out of stables and investing back into Bitcoin and altcoins. So I believe that's one metric I'm watching closely, as well as this RSI is getting close to resistance levels as well. Next is the TOTAL3 chart. Now this one I've done extensive analysis on. If you're in Luke Belmar's Gym Hunters group, I actually posted a very, very thorough analysis and thesis on this. But long story short, I do think here this fractal is playing out, and the TOTAL3 chart on the weekly is close to support right now, including this RSI trendline support. So again, very bullish, at least for a temporary bounce. So I do believe it is very, very close to that. Maybe one last flush and then a bounce in alts and Bitcoin. And then looking at the actual Bitcoin chart here, we can see on the weekly that Bitcoin did have this downward trend line that it rejected off 3 times. But you can see here that it is approaching this weekly support here at about 58,300. And also on the RSI, you can see here that it is forming this descending wedge pattern. Now, it's a very loose descending wedge. Again, this isn't the best, but you can see there is some similarities fractal-wise for an RSI back in October when we had that huge run just before it and we broke out. So again, same thing could be going on here. You had RSI acting as resistance and then acting as support, and it just dipped below that support, broke back into it, and then broke out. So here, RSI is acting as resistance, RSI is acting as support, broke outside of that support, broke back into it, now retesting that support level. So again, we could very, very well maybe have one last flush and then bounce off this 58K level back to retest this long-term trend line here. Now, this trend line I'm watching very closely, which if we look at it comparatively, it's at around 68,000 if we expect Bitcoin to bounce over the next week or two. So if we break this trend line, it'll be extremely bearish, and it'll coincide with this descending wedge on the RSI, which will be breaking all-time highs in my opinion if we break that trend line. Now looking at Ethereum, I think Ethereum's chart is a little bit more bullish. So you can see here, we are right at that major weekly support at 2850, also right at the 50 EMA. Plus the RSI here, you can see it's a much better descending wedge. So it looks much better than the Bitcoin one, much more of a slant here and a contraction here. So definitely watching this one. More importantly, you can see it's acted as support 1, 2, 3 times. So I'm expecting us to bounce here as well as at the support and the 50 EMA. So expecting ETH to bounce here, break out of the descending wedge and rise higher than Bitcoin. So watching that very much as well. And then finally, I made a video on TCAT yesterday. For anyone that didn't get into it, you can see it has broke very nicely out of its descending wedge pattern. So it is very, very bullish right now. There's a big announcement tomorrow. So keep an eye on TCAT on the Ton Network. You can see here, it's one of the only coins in green versus the other coins. So definitely think TCAT continues higher here. Temporary resistance is going to be this 22.1 cent level, and then retesting all-time highs near 3 cents and beyond. So definitely bullish on TCAT. I think there's a lot of good momentum along with that, and TSE. So TSE ton season has been doing good as well. So keep an eye on these guys. I think they still have a lot of momentum on the Ton Network. But hopefully this helped y'all out. If it did, please give it a like. Please comment if you guys have any questions, and please subscribe if you haven't. Really appreciate all the subscribers. Until next time, thanks for watching.